I liked Arrow better in the early seasons when it had less comic book camp. She should have just been a one-time villain, but no, she had to come back not just twice, but 3 times in arguably Arrow's worst episodes. I never really cared for the whole Cupid thing. At first it was interesting and different. Now it's one of the worst characters in the Arrowverse. Do I need to binge all of Crazy Ex-Girlfriend to catch up, or can I just watch the most recent one?
Cupid is hot.
Can we all talk about how perfectly batshit crazy they used her as a villain of the week and made her pointless? Cupid and the Arrow. This girl knows how to handle a bow. Usually the girl has good intentions, but in this case it may be different. Yeah, I'm not reading that comment. That one has a slur in it. This man just made the most stupid decision in his entire life. Yeah, I get the feeling that this episode's a bit of a hot topic, so let's just get it out of the way now. Sorry to burst your bubbles, but I actually really like this character. Ladies and gentlemen of the internet, my name is Demigod Shmurda here. Hello and welcome back to another video and welcome back to another episode of Arrowverse Analysis. There's a specific audience of people that saw that I put the word topical in the title of this video and immediately assumed that this episode had something to do with American politics. And honestly, I can't blame you for thinking that. At least in the West, most pop culture has been heavily politicized within the last few years, with messaging on both sides only appearing to be a more common occurrence. But there's a difference between actively taking a stance on a controversial issue, or being political, and exploring an issue and its ramifications without a slant to one side or another, or being topical. And while it may not have been intentional by the writers back in 2014, this episode can actually serve as a pretty good commentary on the dangers of parasocial relationships. If you're not aware of what that is, a parasocial relationship is an imaginary relationship someone believes they're in with someone they don't know. These relationships can be seen in a lot of different ways, from people you've seen in real life to characters in a show, movie, or book, but the most common modern-day examples are those where a female YouTuber, or even more commonly a female Twitch streamer, is at the center. Streamers like Pokimane, Amaranth, Valkyrae, and many more are victim to this on a daily basis, with some fans even going so far as to fly to their state expecting to meet them.
He ended up staying at the airport for multiple days and recording videos of himself saying like, I'm not leaving until Ray picks me up. I know that she wants to see me. And it's like really, really crazy.
That's called stalking, and it's illegal. Now here's the thing. I actually think this is a really great setup for a villain, especially a comic book villain. Sure, there are villains that take a personal interest in heroes for their own reasons, but as for having an actual parasocial fan as a villain, I can only name one character from one comic book show. Arrow's Carrie Cutter, aka Cupid. Cupid is the quintessential example of a parasocial fan that takes things too far in an attempt to get the attention of someone she believes she's romantically intertwined with. In this episode alone, we see her kill a man, kidnap another, and threaten to kill a whole club full of people because, to her, that's what the Arrow wants her to do. She's seen him kill and maim criminals before, so she goes to extremes in the way she thinks will impress him. While on the surface she seems like a psychopath, her character is actually a lot deeper than that. In fact, psychopathy is the complete wrong diagnosis for her. She's mentally ill, and she has what the show calls attachment disorder, but it's probably more in line with borderline personality disorder, or BPD. I mean, just looking at the symptoms shows you just how well they line up with Carrie. Rapid mood swings, impulsive behavior, unstable self-image, fear of abandonment, anger management issues, paranoid thoughts, dissociation via the Cupid persona. Just saying, there's probably a rational explanation for why she's as obsessed with Oliver as she is. Literally speaking, she's a few quarters short of a buck. And no offense to anyone in the audience that actually has BPD. I don't have a ton of knowledge on the subject, and what I do know, I researched for this episode. So if I've gotten anything wrong, you are more than welcome to correct me in the comments, and I'll make an update in a future episode. This is one of the things I've actually been really enjoying about Season 3 of Arrow so far. Every new episode has given me something new to chew on, as well as a new topic to talk about. That's why this episode is one I felt deserved a full breakdown, and not just because of how much I personally like Cupid as a character. In my opinion, her and Pied Piper are the Arrowverse's two most underutilized characters. Also, she's a better written character than the Huntress. Fight me. If this is your first episode and you're wondering how my rating system works, there's a detailed description down below, along with a link to all my other episodes of Overanalysis. But I encourage that you watch this one first. I'm sure you'll still enjoy it. Real quick, I just wanted to make an update on some general channel stuff, so if you're not interested in hearing all that, just skip to this timestamp. Draft League kinda tanked the performance of my channel, and it was super high maintenance too. If I want to do gaming stuff, which I'm not gonna lie, I kinda do, I don't want it to be more effort than it's worth. So I've decided that it would be best for the YouTube algorithm to put it on a separate channel, which I've called Demigod Rages. Credit to my friend RJ, aka Harpsoul, for the name suggestion, by the way. You can find the link to that channel in the description of all my videos from now on, as well as in the featured channels on my YouTube homepage, since YouTube removed the channels tab for some reason. I can't promise regular uploads just due to my lack of time, but if you're interested in seeing me in a less scripted, more casual setting, you can watch me on there. Or you can also check out the Wobbly Gang channel, where I often post videos of my friends Mate, Gabe, and John. We're currently in the middle of a Pokemon Scarlet and Violet Soul Link that's been surprisingly challenging considering how much Game Freak's babied players since the move to the Switch. But yeah, the long and short of it is that I started a gaming channel, and you can find me there or on Wobbly Gang if you want to see me in a more casual format. The gaming content is just meant to be laid back and for fun, while this channel is meant to be the one for AA and other scripted videos of that nature. And any future streams that happen on this channel will likely get re-uploaded in parts on the gaming channel as well. With that out of the way, let's return to the overanalysis. Beth Schwartz and Wendy Miracle returned to pen Draw Back Your Bow, which first aired November 19th, 2014, and was directed by Rob Hardy. When bodies dressed up like the Arrow begin showing up around town, Oliver and co find the killer to be a stalker who's fallen for Oliver. Meanwhile, Felicity goes to a work dinner with Ray as Oliver deals with complicated feelings on the matter.
In the last 5 minutes, SCPD has had over 200 reports of masked men attacking the city.
So yeah, everything in the episode up to this establishing shot is actually recycled footage from Streets of Fire. And there's Carrie.
Everybody get back inside.
So Oliver saves her life, and that is what starts her obsession. Oh, her theme! I noticed this more in the last episode, but I do believe her theme is actually a remix of the Arrow theme, like the show theme, the dun 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 dun. Now, obviously, it's not a one-for-one comparison because Carrie's version is a lot more erratic, but they're pretty damn similar. Like the Huntress, it is a remix of the theme.
Isaac Stansler. Corrections was transporting him to Iron Heights when he got pincushioned.
Ah, that would explain why he's getting brought out the alley.
Only physical evidence other than the body is this. Shaped like a spade. What's that all about?
Obviously, it's revealed later in the episode, but it is not actually shaped like a spade. It's shaped like a heart. Unfortunately, I unpaused, so we're not going to get as good of a shot of it, but you can see the edges on it are rounded because it's supposed to be shaped like a heart. And it's done like this to play up the whole Cupid aesthetic, but it would be a lot more dangerous if this were a traditional arrowhead with the points at the end. It would be more dangerous to take out. It would cause more damage if for a person trying to remove that arrow. But hey, it plays into the Cupid aesthetic, so I'm here for it. He's working on his Cantonese! Oh my god, wait! What episode was it that Oliver made a joke? He's literally reading Cantonese right now, trying to study.
What are you playing?
A reading game.
Oh, yeah? Do you mind if I try? I want to work on my Cantonese.
I'm not your mother, or your wife, or your maid.
Okay, all right. You don't like me. I get it.
You can celebrate by doing your own laundry.
I don't know how.
That's Oliver actually being honest.
Waller just called. New intel on this Lee Kwan Hui the Triad's interested in. I'll only be gone an hour.
What am I supposed to do?
Your laundry.
Your laundry.
What are you doing? We were supposed to be at the press conference 20 minutes. Oh, God.
First non-Team Arrow member to do the salmon ladder.
Oh God, I have a type.
Are you free for dinner tomorrow night? I have a dinner with the CEO of a Nevada mining concern. They own mineral rights which are impaired to the cogeneration project. The CEO is boring. His wife, even more boring.
I'm sure you have a dozen other employees that would be better suited as your anti-boring wing woman.
But you are the one I bought this dress for.
Real quick, which one of the Try Guys was the one? Ned Fulmer. Okay. Ray, learn from Ned Fulmer's mistake. You cannot do this. Wanted to make sure I was making that joke correctly.
There's nothing platonic about couture. No, all right, I'll go. But only so I can wear this dress. You and I are going to be best friends.
Last time I saw a spade that lethal would cut up a pretty good royal flush I was holding.
Ha! Good line. Hey, check out the fern! The fern is back! Just checked, and I can confirm that the fern does not show up in Sarah, Court of Maltese, The Magician, The Secret Origin of Felicity Smoke, or Guilty. Which means that this episode, the one about Oliver and Felicity's burgeoning romance, is the first time that it's shown up since The Calm. The last time that we talked about Oliver and Felicity's burgeoning romance. Or at least, the last time that it was a major focal point of an episode. Also worth noting, last time that we saw Oliver examining an arrow with this thing was in Season 1 with Malcolm's black arrows. And of course, Malcolm's were 1, 2, 3 prongs, and they had the serrations. This one is not as lethal, like I said. You can see the rounded edges on it really nicely here. Arrow always does such a good job with these arrowheads when you actually get to see them. That's so cool.
I would like Felicity to do a workup on all of this ASAP. I think Felicity's a little busy right now.
A few months ago, I made a promise to help revitalize Starling City. All of us are working very hard with one goal in mind, to save our city. But to do so, Queen Consolidated needs to be something else.
Good way of taking Arrow's motto of, I need to become someone else, something else, for this scene here where they're unveiling Palmer Technologies.
You okay?
I'm fine.
You are not fine. You are smashing evidence. Your only evidence that you have.
What is this?
Was that a note?
It's an address.
Why on God's green earth would Oliver smash that? There's literally no reason to. The plot says so. Look at all these fucking pink candles, dude. Oh, this is fucking weird. But that is the point.
This isn't just a copycat, this is a fan.
I really appreciate that Dig calls out that this is the work of a fan. A deranged fan, agreed, but a fan. No, I don't think that the Arrow writers intended this to necessarily be like a commentary on parasocial relationships, but especially in the last couple years with more and more cases of that stuff happening. Dream and his fan base obviously being one of the prime examples. And of course, how could I forget the K-pop stans? With more and more cases of parasocial relationships popping up, specifically, obviously, for gamers, YouTubers, streamers, people like that, but just for people in general, this episode can sort of be reinterpreted as a commentary on that and the dangers of it. Because, like, look at this shit. These are arrows that I assume Oliver shot that are around this heart-shaped mirror. These are all news articles about him. These are photos of him in the suit. Well, I was half right, because you can see the outside of the heart right here is all pictures of Oliver. This one's a dead giveaway. You can see him with the bow right here and right here. But for some reason, the inside of the heart is all just pictures of dead women, and I don't understand why. But point being, you should absolutely be concerned about this. What in the world part of this is healthy? And the romantic pink candles certainly do not help. Oh, and here's another detail. There's rose petals on the ground. Now, yes, Cupid is obviously a very extreme, exaggerated example. But is she, though? I would argue, and obviously I have to watch the rest of the episode, but just based on what I remember, I would argue that the only thing exaggerated about her is that she actually learned how to fight because of him. So that she could literally kill people for him because she thinks that's what he wants. And in her defense, have you seen the number of bodies that Oliver dropped in season 1? It's not super public knowledge that the arrow's not a killer anymore. He could go back to it at any given moment. She's probably thinks that she's just doing the same thing that he would. Not to excuse this behavior. I vehemently disagree with and denounce what she's doing. I'm just saying the implications are clearly there that this is her thought process. Can confirm all of the arrows around this mirror are Oliver's. Which, if these are all Oliver's arrows, that means she either broke into SCPD evidence lockup and stole them all, or made it to Oliver's crime scenes before the SCPD did. I don't know which of them is less likely, but for her to get this many arrows, I think is quite unlikely. 1 or 2 arrows maybe, but the cops of Starling City are pretty efficient. I need to adjust my hair. I can't deal with this right now.
This isn't a spade, it's a heart.
I thought that the reveal of that happened a lot later into the episode than it did. I clearly do not remember this episode very well, so I am excited to get into it. I am excited to watch this episode. It's like I'm watching it for the first time all over again because it's been so long since I've seen it. In fact, I think this is one of the episodes I've only seen once.
It's you.
Oh, listen to her theme.
It's you.
Dude, whatever that is, that whatever they're using for that sound, I love it. Cupid's theme portrays her character so well. Oliver's theme can be used more as a subtle backing track, whereas Cupid's has, it is also a bit more subtle, but it also has more intensity. It's a little bit more fast-paced with that sound. But because it has that faster pace, you can tell that it has a lot more of that intensity that Cupid has, a lot more of that insanity that she has. But it's masked by these chimes. It's masked by this, generally speaking, pleasant, calming sound like wind chimes generally are. But you can hear that it's the pacing of it. The pacing of those chimes is that insanity, that intensity in Cupid's personality. Hats off to you, Blake Neely. For my money, this is the most iconic villain theme in the show so far. Be honest, Arrow fans, can you really tell the difference between Malcolm's theme and Slade's theme? Yeah, nah, Malcolm and Slade's themes were iconic as fuck. I have no idea what that dumbass was talking about. Malcolm's especially, to me, feels like that that part. It's supposed to seem like it's kind of triumphant. And then at the end, he's remembering everything that he lost. And that's why it quiets down and it goes lower at the end, because it's that remembrance of that tragedy. And then Slade's has this uniquely powerful intensity to it. And when that whining sound, almost like a tornado siren, when you hear that part, you're like, oh, fuck! There is a storm coming! Cupid can be number 3, but I do not think her theme compares to Malcolm's or Slade's. I know that you all went crazy for Prometheus's theme with his part, but Cupid also has one of the more iconic villain themes in the Arrowverse. And again, it's a remix of Oliver's theme, or rather a corruption of Oliver's theme, with Cupid's crazy put into it.
Did you like your present?
You mean Isaac Stansler, the man you killed?
I want to help you. To fight with you. To kill for you.
Oh yeah, she's crazy.
He might be the second.
I'm gonna find you.
Oh, that's the idea. But you'd better hurry. I don't think he's got very long.
This is the first episode of the whole show to have a specific title card. Obviously, seasons 1, 2, and 3 had their unique arrowheads, but this is the first completely unique arrowhead that we see for a title card. But they do put a little ding stinger at the end of it. Oh, Roy, don't torture yourself like that.
You know, it wasn't you who killed that officer. I keep telling myself that, but it's not working. If you want to talk about it.
I don't. I appreciate the offer, though.
Just because I don't blame him, just because Oliver doesn't blame him, just because really nobody blames him, that doesn't help him feel like he's not at fault, you know? In fact, I actually think that it's quite refreshing that Roy thinks it's his fault, and a lot more realistic, too. Because on a differently written show, that would just be wiped completely under the rug, and Roy would let himself off the hook for it as quickly as everyone else is. And so he's torturing himself because no one else is willing to, and he feels like he deserves it.
Where are we with the cell phone from her apartment?
Crazy Pants encrypted the SIM card. I can crack it, but it's going to take some time. And I will work around the clock on it, except for tonight. Ray Palmer invited me to dinner. It's a work dinner, but I need the night off. Is that okay?
Do what you want.
That's kind of a dickish way to put that, but I get why he said it that way. Although, no, that's not really fair to Felicity. Though, in my personal opinion, this is definitely something that requires Felicity's attention a lot more than the stuff that's happening with Palmer Tech and keeping Ray not bored. So in my opinion, yes, Felicity should absolutely be dropping what's going on with work to take care of, you know, there's a crazy psycho that's killing people. So in that sense, Oliver is right, but he shouldn't have been such a tool about it. He should have phrased it a little bit better. What Oliver should have said is something along the lines of, I mean, I need you here, this is important, but I get it, everybody needs a night off every once in a while. It's fine, we'll just have to figure this out on our own.
He's not answering his cell.
He said his contact was down at the docks, right? I will go down and check it out.
No, I'll go.
No offense, but you just Maceo's wife.
Bigot. In Oliver's defense, how the fuck was he supposed to know that she was trained by people on par with the League of Assassins?
Auditions are over. Thanks for coming, guys.
Would you believe that this was Austin Butler? Yes, that Austin Butler. The one that played Elvis fucking Presley. People want him to be the DCU Green Arrow. And honestly, yes, I'm in that boat too. Specifically because he was on Arrow, and that would be stunt casting. And I kind of love stunt casting. Supergirl actually does a lot of stunt casting. Like, they got Carl Lumley, who voiced Martian Manhunter in some Justice League animated stuff, but he plays Martian Manhunter's dad on that show. Linda Carter plays the President of the United States, and she played Wonder Woman. Or the most famous one on that show, John Cryer as Lex. That is stunt casting. And funnily enough, even though it was stunt casting, he played the best Lex Luthor in live action. Point is, I want Austin Butler to play DCU Oliver Queen. Specifically because it would be stunt casting, because he was on Arrow. So James Gunn, pretty please.
The user registered to the encrypted SIM card, Carrie Cutter. She's former SCPD. She was the first woman SWAT team member.
Honestly, that's just impressive. Good for Carrie.
Why was she at the crime scene at Ted Grant's gym?
I don't know, but it's not just there. Apparently, stalking isn't her only hobby either. She's a member of a gardening group, too.
So what if she's keeping Gravano in a greenhouse?
Closest one to her apartment is Sherwood Florist.
I think Sherwood Florist is a comics reference of some kind, but even if it wasn't, that's just really clever that they named it that, because this is the Green Arrow show, you know? Sherwood Forest, Robin Hood. Like, yeah, it's a little on the nose, but no one ever said that you couldn't do on the nose things.
Arsenal, there's no sign of Cutter.
Hello, lover.
If you hurt him...
I didn't touch him, boyfriend. I'm a one-guy woman.
See, I actually really like that line for Cupid, because her general character archetype is like a femme fatale sort of character, kind of like Black Cat in Marvel, but when you look past the surface, Cupid is absolutely not a femme fatale trope, because she's just fucking crazy. She's just a parasocial fan of Oliver that wants to be with him. She does want to be monogamous. So she is not a character that uses her sex appeal in the same way that her general character archetype, her general trope does. So I actually really like that line for her. Then again, I could just make a joke about how Cupid wanting to be monogamous makes her better than the entire modern dating market, men and women. But, you know, that fruit hangs too low even for me.
Carrie, listen to me. You're not well.
If I'm out of my mind, it's because that's what love is. Our own little slice of insanity.
I love that the Arrow writers went just all in on making her campy, dude. But at the same time, she's not just campy. It's the fact that she has that camp and plays into the Cupid persona so much that actually makes her a little bit unsettling. And especially the fact that they gave her the theme they gave her. Like, listen to this.
If I'm out of my mind, it's because that's what love is.
That line, her delivery, the fact that they play her theme over it, the with the bells or the chimes or whatever they used, it's supposed to be unsettling, and it's so great. I know that people feel some type of way about this character, but I'm a Cupid defender, dude. I don't care. Although here's the thing. How the fuck did she take out Roy when she gave him ample opportunity to attack her? Yes, Carrie is SCPD and SWAT, but Roy was trained by Oliver Queen! And let me remind you, Oliver Queen was trained by Slade Wilson, and in canon is kind of sort of on par as a fighter with Sarah Lance! I don't buy this for a second, dude.
Make a wish. Mine's already come true. That rope's laced with a tripwire that's hooked up to a little thing on his chest that goes boom.
So what do you want then?
Just you.
Never gonna happen.
Such a party pooper.
Ooh, pretty decent explosion effect, actually. Wait, why didn't you run after her? She just went that way! No, go after her! Oh my god, every fucking episode it seems, dude! Every single episode this season, Oliver's let a bad guy get away for one reason or another. Especially when he didn't need to, and he could have taken them down very easily! It's actually starting to piss me off, dude.
She took me out. It shouldn't happen.
Yeah, I don't know how either, Roy. I would be pissed off too. I'm pissed off on your behalf.
It was like you weren't the only person that Carrie stalked. She was put on limited duty after becoming obsessed with her partner. The department sent her to St. Walker's for a psych eval.
St. Walker's? Damn.
I know this can't be easy with Felicity spending so much time with Palmer.
Fine.
Where are you going?
The psychiatrist that SCPD sent Cutter to.
Neither Oliver nor Roy is at their best at the current moment.
You and Ray. Actually, it has Oliver twisted up in knots.
Oliver made his choice.
Oh yeah, because Oliver's just great at expressing his emotions.
Ha! True. Some might say that's toxic masculinity. I say that's in Oliver's character. That's just the kind of person Oliver is. He spent 5 years on an island, and he's always had trouble opening up to people. Look what it took to get him to open up to Thea, to Moira, to Tommy, to his brother-in-arms, John motherfucking Diggle. So yeah, that's just who Oliver is.
It's messing with his head, Felicity, and that's really dangerous.
Then Oliver should be the one to say something.
I mean, I can respect Felicity wanting Oliver to be direct, though. But at the same time, how can you possibly be more direct than this? Oh, okay, we're doing this. Alright. Real quick, I'm gonna be a crazy person and check something with this pen. God damn it, that's the same pen she was chewing on in Lone Gunman. Don't ask me if that was done on purpose. It's the Arrow team. It was done on purpose. I wouldn't have even thought to have brought it up if not for this line in the Season 3 premiere that I had to cut due to fair use time.
Yeah, first person that I could see is a person. There was just something about you.
Yeah, I was chewing on a pen.
It was red. Dr. Preston.
Oh my god, what do you want?
To talk about Carrie Cutter.
Doctor-patient privilege.
Your patient killed a man, kidnapped another, and I'm trying to stop her before she hurts anyone else.
I can only diagnose her attachment disorder, the inability to form real, lasting relationships. They push everyone away and fixate on a single person, someone they feel mirrors their emotional state.
Now, I did take a look at the Arrowverse wiki before this, and I did see that she had attachment disorder. And yes, It is a real thing, but it is not at all what the show describes. According to this article from Healthline, attachment disorder actually has more to do with younger children. I won't go too much into it because this really isn't the video about that, but I just wanted to note that even though attachment disorder is a real thing, the show kind of misinterprets what it actually is, or just makes up a definition to fit Carrie's character. And here's the thing, I personally am perfectly fine with that, but I think it would have been a lot better for the parasocial relationship thing that while they weren't trying to go for it, it can be interpreted that way. So I think it would have been a lot better to not have her be mentally ill and for her to actually just be like a crazed fan that got obsessed with Oliver after he saved her life during the siege. I guess the only reason that I don't like the fact that they made her mentally ill is because it takes all the agency out of her character and it kind of infantilizes her in a lot of ways, which I really don't like, because Cupid is this character that is so obsessed and driven with being with Oliver that she literally kills and tortures and kidnaps people because she genuinely doesn't know that's wrong. But saying, oh no, it's not her fault, she didn't do that, the mental illness did it, it really takes the edge out of her character. If I have one problem with Cupid, that's my problem.
How do I stop her?
Give her the connection that she craves. If you lie to her, she'll know. You could use a little therapy yourself.
What gives you that impression?
I mean, apart from the mask and the Robin Hood costume.
There are exactly 0 worlds in the multiverse where this Oliver Queen goes to therapy.
First, I located every crime scene the arrow's been spotted at in the past 6 months. I created an algorithm, calculated the average amount of time it takes the arrow to reach a crime.
There's a splice there. There's a splice in the audio. This is dubbed over. Listen again.
I created an algorithm, calculated the average amount of time it takes the arrow to reach.
Yep, right there, right there. When he says time it takes, that's where the splice is. That makes 2 scenes this season that have been dubbed over. While the character's mouth is in full view, how did this make it into the final cut of the episode?
Calculated the average amount of time it takes the arrow to reach a crime scene, triangulated that by the distance to said scene. Genius, right?
Oh my god, wait, no. No. Why? Why isn't it 10:52 industrial? Why? That was not necessary.
Sorry, I'm spoken for.
She's so fun, dude. Amy Gumanik was such good casting, dude. Like, there are some actors on Arrow where you're like, I don't know about that. Like, Katie Cassidy is obviously the example that I always give of actors. I'm like, I don't know about that. I don't know if you're Laura Lance. I don't know if you're that guy. Amy Gumanik was so fucking well cast as Cupid, dude. Any time that she's on screen, I feel like my lizard brain just activates, dude. She's very clearly, she's having fun. She is having fun, and she is acting her ass off.
We need Felicity here. You mean you need her to be any place where Ray Palmer is?
It's not the time, Diggle.
Oliver, you're in the field without your head on straight.
What do you want me to say? Yes. It bothers me that she is out to dinner with Palmer. Yes. It bothers me that apparently she is just moving on with her life, but I made a decision. She did too. I want her to be happy.
If that were true, you'd be with her, man.
She said no, John! Also, this is not the time!
Rivals of the Triad. They control the sport.
So they know what happened to Maseo.
Hey, I don't want any trouble.
Did Oliver really just let himself get hit like that? Ooh, sword shit! Yes!
I'm here looking for my husband.
3 men this August. They work for them. They're all dead, killed by Triad a few hours ago.
And it is in this moment where I'm gonna hit you with my favorite trope of bathos, but instead of, putting a joke here, I'm just gonna say I liked seeing Tatsu use a sword. Because obviously, in DC Comics, Tatsu Yamashiro is katana. But it's been 6.5 episodes, and so you kind of wonder, are they ever going to acknowledge the katana thing? Is this an adaptation in name and name only? Point is, I liked seeing her use the sword. And especially, I like that the actress is getting more to do as well. This is the same restaurant set that Oliver and Thea met at in season 4, or in episode 4.
This is Felicity Smoke, Vice President of Palmer Technologies.
Vice President? What the fuck? For everyone watching that is attracted to women, I have to ask. Would you?
Maybe the DJ got confused and thinks he's at a rave.
You're fired. I think my Spotify playlist is a better option than you right now.
So did Spotify sponsor them? Like, I didn't remember much about this episode. I remembered that line for some reason. But yo, if Arrow was sponsored by Spotify, that's crazy. That should... If that is true, that shows you just how big Arrow was. Although I think having Steve Aoki show up for a DJ scene in season 1 had already accomplished that.
You need some help?
Just when I thought the night couldn't get any worse.
Half the gate and guaranteed gigs 4 times a week.
Fine, just get these people dancing.
Did Ray have a chance to tell you about his plans for your mineral deposits in Nevada?
As I mentioned, I'm not interested in selling.
And I don't blame you for not wanting to sell Ray your mine. The thing about Ray is he's not a businessman. Ray isn't interested in making money. He's interested in making the world a better place. So if Ray wants your mine, it's because he's going to put it to the kind of use that's going to make you proud.
I mean, I think it's just because he wants the Dwarf Star alloy in there to make his suit, but... Now, you see, that was Bathos. That was me interrupting a serious moment with a joke.
Spoke with Felicity. The last thing Cutter was looking at was a map. Verdant was marked on it.
Does her phone case have a heart, too? Yeah, her phone case has a fucking heart on it. I can't help it, dude. I love how campy she is.
I didn't think a club would be your kind of scene. You're always surprising me.
You want to meet me? Fine. I will meet you anywhere but that club.
So you're asking me out?
Where do you...
But you listen to me, lover. If you're playing me, I promise you I'll come back here and kill everyone in this place.
Felicity's back! Hey!
Gary, I'm here to help you because you're not well.
Don't ever say that again.
That's another thing I really love about this performance, dude, is that she obviously has, like, the, super zany, kooky performance. But when she goes into that lower register of her voice, that's the moment where she's actually super threatening. It's so good.
I know what it's like to want someone, but not be able to be with them. I can't be with you. Can't be with anyone. I have to be alone.
And see, obviously, Carrie takes it as him trying to convince her of it. But in this moment, Oliver's actually trying to convince himself of that.
You're a liar.
Rather unfortunately, this is probably the best shot that I'm going to get of it, but you can see here that when her bowstring extends, her bow is a heart. I'm going to put this image up on screen. Credit to this person on Reddit. This is actually a better shot. You can see that her bow makes a heart in this shot here. Obviously, this is a behind-the-scenes photo, but still. This should not be a fight, dude. Carrie should be no match for Oliver, dude. In fact, I think this is only a match because Oliver is holding back, because she's mentally unwell. Oh. Wait, well, I'm sorry, what? When did she do that? Okay, so I think I see. Right here, you see she grabs his wrist. I guess that's when she slaps that cuff on him. And then she ties it to the ground when she does that roll. But what the fuck is this handcuff even linked to?
You don't have to do this.
I do, but at least this way, we can be together.
She's so crazy, dude. Oh, he dislocates his wrist. But Oliver's compound bow was on the track. Wait, hang on. I'm just realizing something in post. Starling City doesn't have a subway. Like, they used to, but they don't anymore. Which means that they had to have reinstated the subway system sometime after Salvation, or probably after Sacrifice, after the Undertaking. But we've never heard or seen anything about that in the show so far. I'm not gonna lie, I think the Arrow writers just genuinely forgot that. Like, don't get me wrong, these are some of the most detail-oriented writers that I've ever seen, but even the most detail-oriented people forget things sometimes. And you know what? It works for this scene, so I'm gonna let them have this one. I'm just gonna assume that the subways got rebuilt in the wake of the undertaking. Even though that was never said.
I knew you left me.
That's your takeaway? I mean, yeah, that's their takeaway.
Lila said Cutter's even nuttier than the last woman they had in the Suicide Squad.
Hey, Harley Quinn reference.
You sure this was a good idea, handing her over to Waller?
Iron Heights isn't right for her. On the squad, she could make a difference.
I mean, she has some kind of skill in order to take out Roy. Definitely needs more discipline, though.
Felicity heard what you said to Cutter. You gotta tell her how you feel.
He did!
How do I tell my son whose father is dead?
Damn.
Where have you two been?
Where have you been?
Waller changed my orders and brought me in. We were in lockdown tonight because 3 agents got killed.
It's more of like a bonding mission for the three of them. Oh, he's gonna go figure out how to do his laundry. Hey, another good transition.
Half the gate, as agreed.
This is unwarranted. Thea, you know you can file charges against him, right? See, like, I know he's in the League of Assassins, but she doesn't know that, and she should definitely be filing charges, because that is sexual harassment. That is sexual assault.
My grand reopening gift to you.
You can definitely hear the Elvis in his voice, though.
Gardens are gonna sell.
That's amazing.
It's all thanks to you.
Okay, let's still not... This is still weird. Just on a corporate level, this cannot happen. God, dude, it really is crazy how you watch things differently when you're a legal adult than when you're a teenager.
I want to get a jump on the mining operations immediately. Let me know as soon as the first of the Dwarf Star alloy is extracted.
Adam exosuit rendering. God, look at this shot, dude. This shot's real cool. Him in front of that hologram?
Sorry to do this to you, but you have something I need.
And so here we get our first look at Captain Boomerang, played by Nick Tarabay. For the record, he also played Eclipso on... You know.
See, that's the thing about our work. It always comes back to haunt you.
I couldn't tell you why this was the episode that I decided to go in on, but for some reason, I did. And I'm not sorry. This episode pulls a fair few "the plot says so" cards out of its ass. For example, why does Oliver smash that arrowhead when it's the only piece of evidence they have on Carrie? Why does Oliver let Carrie escape instead of running after her? How did Carrie get to crime scenes before the SCPD so that she could steal those arrows for her shrine? How on God's green earth did she beat Roy in a fight when she gave him ample time to attack her? Why doesn't Oliver treat Carrie like the criminal she clearly is and put an arrow through her shoulder the first chance he gets? The more you think about this episode, the longer that list gets. It has a better structure than Guilty, but only because Guilty didn't have any structure at all. At the very least, this episode had a through line about Oliver trying to repress the feelings he has toward Felicity because she moved on and he wasn't able to. And while you might think that's out of character for him, this is a different Oliver than he was in Season 1, because he's more open with his emotions now than he was before. Oliver let Felicity in, saw the consequences of that, and tried to do what he always does and close himself off. However, that didn't end up working out this time around because he's in a different place in his life now. So putting this Oliver face to face with a psychotic parasocial stalker is actually a pretty good idea. I also like how it shows the unintended consequences of the good that Oliver is doing. Yeah, he's saving people and doing the right thing, but how many more Cupids is he creating in the process? It's just too bad that the episode is more focused on the emotional turmoil aspect than questioning what Oliver's doing is right, though. Another minor part of the episode I liked is the stuff with Roy. We don't get to see much of it, and I had to cut a lot of it out due to time, but I like how Roy is actually blaming himself for what happened with that cop, even though nobody else does. It shows a level of maturity and self-reflection that Roy didn't have before, especially considering the great strides he went to be better for Thea from basically Salvation onward. The climax I also thought was really well done. How Oliver's speech to Carrie is more about trying to convince himself that he should be alone than trying to convince Carrie of that. And although I couldn't find what exactly she cuffed him to, I like how the episode both begins and ends with Oliver saving Carrie from a dangerous situation. If this was going to be Carrie's only appearance, that would have been a good little bookend sort of thing. Actually, I think the climax is going to be what bumps this plot up to a 3. It's a hesitant 3, but a 3 nonetheless. And here's another thing in favor of the climax that makes me want to give it that extra point. You remember how the therapist said that Carrie will know if Oliver lies to her? Well, Oliver's speech in the climax is about convincing himself that he needs to be alone. And Carrie calls him out on it. Sure, it's because she's in love with him, but I feel like that's solid confirmation that Oliver is lying to himself about believing he's better off alone. The smaller moments in the episode are actually pretty great, but the episode isn't interested in focusing on them. It's too busy playing up how distraught Oliver is over Felicity and how much fun of an antagonist Cupid is. But unfortunately for the episode, only one of those things manages to land. This is also the first episode of the season to not include Laurel, but you really don't even notice that she's gone. Although, maybe it would have been smart for Laurel to try to help Oliver through his situation with Felicity instead of Dig, because the two of them have a romantic history, so there's some missed opportunity there. Carrie is very obviously written damn near perfectly. She's the perfect amount of crazy, the perfect amount of campy, but she's also unnerving in a lot of ways depending on how often she has her theme playing behind her, and depending on her manner of speech. And the fact that she was literally willing to let a train hit her because of some twisted idea that it would allow her and Oliver to be together really shows how committed she was to that parasocial connection she developed. For the most part, I actually think Oliver is written pretty well too. Generally speaking, he's very stoic, and I can't even blame him for being that way either. Like he said in The Calm, he doesn't see people for people very often, so clearly letting someone in and getting rejected is gonna get to him. Oliver's had a few love interests over the course of the show: Helena, McKenna, Laurel, Sarah, but Felicity is different because Oliver didn't really take the other relationships as seriously. Helena was more just showing Oliver's I can fix her complex. McKenna was fun due to her history with Oliver, but things couldn't get too serious due to her injury. Laurel and Oliver were doomed to fail, and it was pretty clear Oliver moved on by year's end. And while Sarah was actually a really good partner for Oliver, she had her own stuff with the League she had to work out, and now she's dead. Felicity was someone that Oliver actually saw a future with, even if just for a moment. But because he felt he couldn't be himself and be able to save people at the same time, he pushed her away. And I'm sure Sarah's death didn't help with that since, as he says himself,
I don't have the luxury of falling to pieces. Everyone is looking to me to lead.
And when you bottle that up for so long, all it's gonna take is one small thing to set you off. It doesn't matter how much you think you're in control, because other people will be able to tell that your head is not in the game. In fact, it's not dissimilar to how Oliver tried to help Felicity deal with the feelings surrounding her mother in The Secret Origin of Felicity Smoke. In fact, you could argue that's why Oliver let Carrie get away. His head was so completely not in the game that he literally didn't think to go after her. The simplest option that we're staring him dead in the face literally didn't register. That's happened to me on more than one occasion when I get worked up. I'm not just talking out of my ass, it's a real thing. Oliver and Carrie I actually thought were handled really well in this episode. But when everyone else is written average at best, or is hyper-focused on the relationship aspect so much that Dig shipping Olicity literally became a meme, the episode can't get that perfect characterization score. Yeah, the action sequences in this episode are pretty bad, but I wouldn't fault the whole episode for that. Amy Gumanik completely embraces her performance as Cupid here, and she's so much fun to watch that you really won't mind the rest of the episode lacking in some areas, nor do you mind her voice continually changing tones from scene to scene. She's like DC's Iman Vellani in the way she just runs away with and has fun with this role. I also thought Cupid's theme was really well put together, and it was used in all the right moments in the episode as well. And seeing that unique title card for the first time on this show is definitely something you can't ignore. Aside from this being the Cupid episode, there's not much reason to watch it. While the flashbacks serve to strengthen the rapport between Oliver and Tatsu, the rest of the episode doesn't really do much to add to the season or even to justify its own existence. Even the fact that Carrie shows up later on in the Suicide Squad episode, that doesn't particularly make this a necessary watch. If you plan on watching only the essential episodes for your binge, this is definitely one you can skip. I had fun with this episode, but I'm fully aware this is a character that people don't like and an episode people aren't a fan of. And unlike Corto Maltese and the Secret Origin of Felicity Smoke, I actually do understand why people wouldn't be huge fans of this one. If you're a fan of Cupid, you'll probably get a kick out of this one. If not, you're not getting much here because a lot of the episode is dedicated to the relationship side of things. Honestly, I kinda hate giving this episode a score this low, but sometimes you have to admit that the episodes you're personally a big fan of aren't all that great. Cupid is a very fun, zany character, and I could watch Amy Gumanik play her all day, every day. But as a complete project, this episode just has too many pitfalls that can't be excused because of just one character, and certainly not a character that there's no clear consensus on. A 13 out of 25 honestly seems a bit harsh, but I can't honestly say that this episode has much going for it outside of Cupid being Cupid. An objective rating of a project of any kind can't be solely based on any one specific aspect of it, and that certainly rings true here. That said, I really don't have any harsh feelings toward this episode. I admit that there's some wasted story potential by not having Cupid be the one that killed Sarah, but even still, this is one of those episodes that has a low score that I actually don't hate or think is all that bad, to be quite honest. It's not one I'm gonna rewatch all that often, but I do wish we'd gotten to see more of Cupid on this show than we actually did. That is it for this episode, guys. If you enjoyed it, please be sure to leave a like and a comment. That'd be greatly appreciated. Also, be sure to click that subscribe button if you haven't already so that you can join us as soon as freaking possible. And while I'm plugging everything else, be sure to click the bell so that you get notified whenever we upload any of these crappy videos. But apart from that, I will see you guys in the next one. Peace out, guys. This is Demigod Shmurda. Edge!